It's the Powerhouse Woman Show. You're a powerhouse woman, successful, accomplished, but you know the time has come for something else. To pivot, make a shift, or do what you've been putting off for a long time. I'm Monica Pierre, a media entrepreneur, Emmy Award-winning journalist and coach, and I'm on a mission to help you figure out your path forward and create powerful new stories about your life and legacy. There's more ahead. Time to do the greatest work of your life. And we do believe it is time to do the greatest work of your life. There's more ahead. You've done a lot of great things, but it's not all done yet. Welcome to the show. I'm Monica Pierre. We're so glad that you could be with us today. And we're going to talk about leadership and being called to lead. What does that mean? And how do you recognize opportunities to lead? We're joined by Cindy Osmer, who's joining us now. And Cindy is, she wears so many hats. Cindy is with Hancock Whitney Bank. She is VP, Vice President of Treasury Management. She is also the president of the board of the American Business Women's Association, ABWA, Crescent City Connections Express Network. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cindy.
Good morning. Thank you. Or actually, it's still morning, huh?
Yeah, it'll be morning, afternoon, somewhere. Absolutely. Yeah. And Cindy, you have a lot of great titles, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up in the world of banking?
Well, banking, really, I stumbled into the world of banking. Out of college, needed to find a job, had some experience with Key in a grocery store, and did great on a teller test. And that's how I wound up in banking. And 20 plus years later, I'm still here. I found out that I loved it right from the beginning.
Well, that's good. So would you consider yourself in leadership, of course, because you're vice president and, to get it correct, treasury management at Hancock Whitney. So what are your views about women and leadership? And I especially want to talk about your work with the ABWA, but what have you noticed about women stepping up and recognizing that they are leaders?
I think most women, if you're a natural leader, I think you step up and volunteer without even thinking twice about it. You're in a situation where maybe in a group that can't make a decision, and all of a sudden you find yourself, leading the group and helping to arrange ideas and make the decision. If you're not a natural born leader, you may have to look for those opportunities. And when you find yourself in the opportunity, go ahead and step up and take a chance. And don't be afraid that you're going to make mistakes, or that you're going to fail, or that look for that group that's going to give you the support to help you become the leader that you want to be.
Do you find that there are women who do not raise their hands because of either imposter syndrome or this ridiculous quest to be perfect, that you have to get it right all the time, even before you start? What are you finding?
Yeah, I think we find that women overthink and they want to be 100% prepared before they step up into a role. And whereas men typically will step into the role and I'll figure it out is the idea. And I think more women just need to relax a little bit, realize, maybe I don't know everything, but I can learn everything and I can be great at it. I just need to not expect myself to be 100% when I walk into the role.
That's a powerful. You're also the president of the board of ABWA, Crescent City Connections Express Network. And before we were talking that maybe a few years ago, you wouldn't have been the one to always raise your hand, and that has been a journey for you. Talk about what ABWA has meant for you, particularly in the area of leadership development.
Sure. So about 6 years ago, I felt like I was complacent in both my professional career and my personal development. And I was introduced to ABWA, went to an event, immediately felt like I belonged in the group, felt the support from the women in the group right away. And eventually, it didn't take long for me to join a committee and start working on an event. And the next thing you knew, 3 years later, I was asked to be on the board, and I've been on the board for 3 years. And everything that I have learned through ABWA, it's brought me friendships, of course. It's brought mentorship. There's plenty of women that are different than me. So I've learned you know, how to deal with women who have different views and have different backgrounds and things like that. And I can honestly say that I could walk into a boardroom full of men. I'm in sales today. I can walk into a boardroom full of men and present and not have a problem. The day I walked into that boardroom full of women, I was scared to death because I did not know how to communicate in that environment. And I've learned that. And it's that organization has allowed me to make mistakes. And I've had the support of the people within the women in the organization to learn from those mistakes. Now I'm in a position where I can help mentor women who want to be in leadership roles. And I just, it's changed my life. It really has.
I've noticed that sometimes there could be this woman who might be watching you. You're doing your thing. You're going about your business, and you don't think you're doing a great job. You're not doing a bad job. You're just doing your job. And they pull you aside and they offer feedback, but they also offer to mentor you and get you into that leadership track. What are some of the signs that you look for and other women executives look for to help others who may be powerhouse women but don't recognize their powerhouse leadership role?
I look for the person who's not putting up their hand. And I want to understand why. What are you afraid of? And then help them to make that first step. You know, where's that place where you can contribute a little bit and build up your confidence and get comfortable so that you can start that path to grow to get where you want to be.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. The one who isn't raising her hand, because what does that tell you about the one who isn't raising her hand? That she maybe is scared or
scared, uncomfortable in the situation. You know, like me, I was definitely an introvert, and that's the first sign. And I can relate to what she's going through because I've been there. I mean, still today, if I have to walk up and talk to a stranger, I have to psych myself up to do it. It's, I've learned the skill to do it, but it's not comfortable for me.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about ABWA. We mentioned, of course, your work with Hancock Whitney Bank. You're in leadership there. You're vice president. And you're also now the president of the board of Crescent City Connections with ABWA. And some of the leadership development or even some of the programming that will help women raise their hands, feel that they have a sense of belonging, take risks, not worry about being perfect or not making a mistake. What are some of the things you have coming up?
Sure. So we have a monthly luncheon that always includes an educational component. And our monthly luncheon is next Thursday. It's always the third Thursday of the month. In addition to that, right now we have our scholarship period is open. Our application deadline is next week. That the scholarships will help women who are beginning their post-secondary education or currently enrolled in post-secondary education, as well as VOTEC schools, to enhance, to further their education by giving them some financial assistance. And then finally, we are in the middle of our Drive Leadership Seminar series, which our first seminar was held last month, and we have 4 more seminars to go. They are held every other month. The next session is going to be about time management. They're led by Mary Jane Walsh, who is an executive business coach. And we use those seminars to help further your education and learn more things. I'm really interested in the time management session because that is definitely something that I am always trying to improve on.
Oh, absolutely. We need to do that. Absolutely. Have we learned any lessons on leadership beginning, middle, almost hopefully at the end of COVID, or at least this round of it as we're opening up more and more things? What leadership lessons do you think we've learned?
I think we've learned that you really need to realize that not everyone is at the same stage. And really be more aware of those around you, what their needs are, what their strengths are versus what your weaknesses are, and try to really collaborate more. We have found within ABWA, we were able to implement online programming in our chapter very quickly. But there's other leagues throughout the country that had struggled with that. So we come together and we help each other, accomplish the goals we're trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that too, that we're not as hesitant to ask, not as hesitant to lean on each other
Mhm.
in order to create the things that we want. Because this definitely was a difficult and different time. We always
Right.
like to welcome those who've joined us. We have your workflow. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that, Danielle. Good morning to you. And Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Thank you for joining us as well. You must know Barbara. Your face lit up.
I couldn't have made it through this year without Barbara.
Oh, thank you for that, Barbara, which also shows that we're supporting each other as well. Well, it's time now for our Powerhouse Wrap Up, Cindy, and that is where we have ask some questions. Don't overthink it, just whatever flows with you. Complete this sentence. A powerhouse woman is.
She is someone who's strong enough to have a vision and has the fortitude to see that vision come to life, but is humble enough to accept advice and criticism along the way from her peers.
Oh, humble enough to accept advice and criticism. Speaking of advice, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And I know this is like a tough question for so many of our powerhouse
This is
women
a tough
guests.
one.
It's a tough one. And not only what did you receive, who gave it to you, and how have you been able to use it personally or professionally or both?
Well, you give us that question ahead of time, and I love that fact. So I thought back, and the one piece of advice that I received really early on in my career that sticks with me to this day, and what is dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And at first, when I was younger, I took that very literally, as in just my attire. But now that I look back, I think it's definitely more about perception. And you want the people who make the decisions to perceive you and see you in the role that you want to be in. And if you can accomplish that, that will happen. Your vision will come to
Wow.
life.
That is a unique perspective because we've always heard dress for the job that you want.
Mhm.
But this, yeah. Oh, it's amazing. So, like one, what piece of advice would you give our powerhouse women?
Put your hand up and get involved. Don't overthink it. Don't be scared. Start small if you need to start small, but get involved in the things that interest you and take a chance. And it'll all work itself out.
Absolutely. Oh, those are some powerful pieces of advice as well. We thank you for that. Yes. Workflow says she loves that. I think that's going to be her credo
Thank
going
you.
on. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. And how do people find you? Either it's to find out more about what you do. What's the best way?
So if you're interested in ABWA events, our website is abwaneworleans.org. And everything that we're doing right now is on our website. We also are on several social media, Instagram and Facebook, as ABWA-Crescent City Connections. And then if you'd like to learn more about what I do at Hancock Whitney Bank, you can reach me at cindy.osmer@hancockwhitney.com.
Oh, we have it up on the screen. Thank you so much. Any final piece of advice on leadership? I know you've given us some really practical, simple things that we can do. We can start now. But what other piece of advice or even parting words that you have for us today?
Just take it a step at a time and don't be so hard on yourself.
Mhm.
You're not going to be perfect from the beginning, and it is okay.
It is okay. Cindy,
Mhm.
thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Monica. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, it was our pleasure. Thank you so much. Well, that is our show for today. We thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. Hope that you've picked some things up. And remember, there's a leader in you. You are a powerhouse woman. We'll talk to you next time.